Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Basketball Show. I'm George Michalowski today, joined by another very special guest, the man himself, Blake Hinson. Blake, thanks for
What's
joining me, man.
cracking? What's cracking?
How you doing? How's everything going, man? You're a day away from the NBA draft.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I guess it really hasn't hit me that I'm going to have the opportunity to play for an NBA team, but I've been working so hard to get to this moment. You know what I mean? It's kind of I've got to the point where I kind of expect it of myself.
So, how many teams did you end up working out for? I talked to your agent a bit ago. I think the number was at 19.
Yeah, it was 19. It didn't end up being
Okay.
19, but yeah, it was somewhere close to that.
And what goes on during this whole process? Like you're working out for the team. I'm sure they're, implementing a bit of their system in these drills and working you in scrimmages. But what goes on in this whole process from the combine, from the G League elite camp, everything that you've done to get to this point?
Uh, some do implement their game plan offensively into them, but honestly, a lot of them they just want to see you compete really hard, and they're gonna put you in hard situations. They're gonna do 3-on-3 full court or like 1-on-1 full court, like all types of just wild ways of competing. That's guaranteed to get you dead tired, but they want to see you push through it, and they want to see you still be successful. So I think that's really cool. You know, it tells a lot about your character in a small amount of time.
Is there anything that's happened in these workouts or in this pre-draft process for you that's surprised you? Like, has there been any questions that have caught you off guard or any workouts, any drills?
Yeah, yeah. Not many things as far as basketball has caught me off guard, but I've gotten some wild questions. And the most wild one was a team asked me, um, what animal would I describe myself as? And I took a really long time to answer that because I felt like there were so many wrong answers.
What did you
So
end up what did you end up saying?
I don't even want to say what I ended up saying. It was embarrassing. But I ended up saying crocodile. Don't even ask why. I drew a blank. I never thought I'd ever get asked that a day of my life.
Oh my God. I mean, that's that's hilarious. Man, that's awesome. So, I mean, what's been the most challenging part about all this for you? You're a confident guy. You've been confident since you arrived at Pitt, since we saw you first. But has there been any challenges in this process?
Man, I think the biggest challenge is going to work out, and no matter if you do good or bad, having to just totally restart from zero and do it again. I think that's the hardest thing, and there's no film. So if I was to go work out for Team A and did terrific, Team B didn't know you just did terrific, so you have to do it again. You know what I mean? It's not like these games are nationally televised. It's not like you come in and play bad and they're like, well, he played good in the other four workouts. No, that's
Right.
really not how that works. So I think that's the biggest thing, just resetting your mind and resetting your body sometimes 24 hours right after and doing it again and being a high level competitor.
Were there any teams you worked out for where it was kind of surreal for you, whether you watched them as a kid or just the practice facility, or you saw someone in there that was pretty surreal to you?
I think the most surreal event was my last workout was Boston, and we were walking up to the locker room and there was the trophy right there. And it was actually funny because when I seen the trophy, I just stopped. Like I could touch it. I didn't touch it because you know what I mean. Clearly, I would want to touch
Yeah.
my own, but I'm just eyeing it down. I'm looking at all the scratches, all the everything that's on it, and I look up, and the person walking me to the locker room just stared at me like, "Are you ready?" So like, yeah. So like, yeah, I've been out of the room just being that close to the trophy, man. And I think that was representative of how close I am to being where I want to be.
Is that the main goal to win a title? Like what's your overall personal goal, in basketball?
Yeah, it's always to win championship. It's always to win. At the end of the day, when I practice every day, it's to win. When I play a game, it's to win. When I go to practice, it's to win. It's always to win. So the ultimate goal, yes, to win the championship.
So when you look back at your time at Pitt, you've had months to kind of sit on this last year and think about this, reminisce about your time there. What are the top moments that come to mind, whether it's the Duke game, the tournament, West Virginia game? I mean, I could think of plenty more. Like, what comes to your mind first, and when you think back of Pitt?
Oh man, man. I think the Duke game definitely comes to mind, but I don't think it comes number one on the list. I think the number one moment for me, honestly, was letting down that shot. One of my first practices is Pitt and getting into an argument damn near with Greg, saying I don't have to take that shot because I'm thinking to myself I need to play differently to stay on this team. And Greg is trying to tell me you need to shoot, and then Coach Capel busts into the conversation, say I don't need to let down that shot, and like that totally warped my progression with this team. It turned me into somebody who you probably is a fly by the night player to a player that that just the simple thing of that coach letting me know that I'm confident in who you are and your skill set, and I want you to do that. See, that's never happened to me before. So I think that's my first time actually getting empowered by the coach, and then it's showed for the next 2 years.
So you mentioned Greg. Have you caught up with JB, Greg, Nike, Nelly, those guys since they've been playing pro ball?
Yeah, I talk to those guys often. I talk to Greg pretty much every day. I talked to Nike earlier today. I talked to those guys very often, very often.
And what are some of the things that they tell you about playing pro ball? Obviously, none of them in the NBA right now playing overseas. But what do they tell you about playing pro ball?
I don't think I've got any info about. I don't think I got any info about playing pro with them. I think Nelly gave me my best advice when he left and went to play pro last year. And he told me, man, you have to take these battles personally because not only is it for a win, but it's ultimately a battle for your future. Uh, you know what I mean? So when you take these matchups very seriously, and that's something I never forget. He told me that last year when he left, and I was coming back.
Gotcha. So, I think about when we had you on the podcast 2 years ago with JB, and you told us about how it was a transition for you to play the four at Pitt. Uh,
hmm
what position, what role do you see yourself playing in the NBA someday?
The NBA is just a weird place. I personally think there's only two real positions, and that's point guard and that's center, and then
Yeah.
everybody else is just wings. So I would put myself in that wing position. You know what I mean? That's the position I want to play. That's the position I will play.
So I remember you talked about Jeff and this process, and he's been supportive of you since you got to Pitt, giving you the opportunity to come to Pitt. I actually talked to Bub 2 days ago about the support that Jeff's given him and the whole Pitt staff has given him since he declared for the draft. Have you been in contact with the staff, and what are some of those conversations looking like now?
Yeah, I talk to the staff like often, man. I never thought I'd have a relationship with a coaching staff like this ever. We talk often, very often on a weekly basis. And whether it's about just regular day stuff or about my future or about what the team is doing back at Pittsburgh, man, we just talk. So I think that was pretty dope. I mean, they're always just telling me that I think Coach Jason Capel and Tim O'Toole tell me the same thing in a different way. But the way Jason Capel says is make sure you play the hits. And what he means by that is do what you do. Don't try to do nothing else. Don't try to prove that you're anything else. Just do what you do. Throw your fastball. So those are the information they're giving me all the time.
Who are you going to be spending this next week with while you're, getting ready to make this big decision and seeing where you land?
Man, honestly, I was gonna do it just by myself, honestly. But my dad's coming down to Miami and bringing my mom, so just my parents now.
There you go. All right. So, Blake, thanks so much for coming on. I closed the show with Bub asking him this question. I'm going to pose it to you too. I'll give you 30 seconds, and you have to convince me or the listeners of this show why Pitt's basketball roster is going to make the NCAA tournament this upcoming year.
That roster is gonna make, and I don't need 30 seconds, gonna make the NCAA tournament this year because it was assembled by Jeff Capel. That's it. Final statement.
There you have it. There you have it. All right, Blake. Thanks so much, man. Good luck this week. Good luck with everything in the future.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.